Hey guys, my name is Sicsen and today I'm going to be telling you how I stream console and PC games on YouTube using Streamlabs and OBS. Basically, it's a lot to explain, so I've divided it into chapters for your convenience. The chapter title and number will almost always be visible on top of the screen so that you can keep track of where I am, and all the links that I mentioned will be in the description as well. I put timestamps in the description for your convenience so that you can jump around to whatever you need. Just a disclaimer, I am in no way, shape, or form a professional on any of this stuff. I'm just taking what I've learned over the past year of teaching myself how to stream, and I'm putting it all into one big video because I know that I would have benefited from something like this a long time ago. I'm going to try to cover as much material as possible, and I'll be as specific as I can just to minimize the amount of questions that you guys have in the end. The difficulty of setting up your stream really just depends on how professional you want it to look and what equipment you have available. Before I begin, I'm going to be working with the GTA overlay that I made in my previous tutorial with Photoshop. The link to that video will also be in the description, and I'll throw in a little annotation in case you guys want to know how I make my stream overlays. If you don't have Photoshop and you need an overlay, then you can message me or email me and I'll make you one for $5 to $10. But anyway, let's begin. So the first thing that you should do is make sure that you have the right OBS settings for streaming. I'll show you the settings that I have, but they're based on my preference, so if you want to change something up, then feel free. I set these settings a while ago using a tutorial that I found on YouTube because, to be honest, I don't really know what a lot of these mean. So in the General tab, I just have the basic boxes checked and whatnot. These settings don't really have an effect on their stream, they're just more for personal preference. The Stream tab shows what stream type I'm using, what service I'm using, which is YouTube Gaming, what server I'm using, which is the primary YouTube ingest server, and my stream key, which I'll talk about later on. When adjusting your output settings, make sure that your output mode is advanced so that you have access to everything. On the Streaming tab, I use the x264 encoder, CBR rate control, 2500 bitrate, 2 keyframe interval, very fast CPU usage, main profile, no tune, and no options. I have a very powerful computer and a good internet connection, so I run everything according to that. Just something to keep in mind. On the Recording tab, I have the standard type selected. My recordings are set to save right to my desktop for easy access. I use MP4 as my recording format, audio track 1, and the rest is the same as my streaming settings. As for audio, I have all my audio bitrate set to 192. I don't know what replay buffer is, so I don't have it enabled. Switching over to the audio tab, my sample rate is 48 kHz, stereo for my channels. I have my headset set as my desktop audio device, and everything else is disabled. On the video tab, my base resolution and my output resolution are both 1920 by 1080. My downscale filter is bicubic, and I stream at 30 frames per second. OBS gives you the option to make hotkeys, but I haven't made any, as you can see. Moving on to the advanced settings, I have my process priority at normal. I'm using Direct3D 11 renderer, NV12 color format, 709 YUV color space, and partial YUV color range. The rest of my advanced settings are just set to default. Now that settings are out of the way, the next thing that you should do is create a scene for the game that you're streaming. It's easier to make a separate scene for each different game overlay you have because you can just switch between them really quickly. So just hit the little plus sign, name your scene accordingly, and you're all set. Then you want to add some sources. The first source I usually add is my overlay because that determines where everything else is going to go. Hit the plus sign and choose image. Make sure that your overlay is saved as a PNG and then select it, rename it, and hit OK. Once your overlay is on OBS, the next thing I do is get my face cam set up. If you don't plan on including a face cam in your stream, then just go ahead and skip this step. So add another source and select video capture device. It'll bring you to a little menu where you can select the camera you want to use. In my case, I'm using my webcam, so I'm going to go ahead and select that. Now, because I already have a video capture source in my other scenes, I can't make another one. In this case, I'd have to delete the one I just made, add another video capture device, and select add existing. As you can see, I already have a face cam source. In the Sources tab, drag your face cam so that it's under your overlay, and then you can drag it and resize it to fit your face cam box. Now it's time to talk about your gameplay and how you get it into OBS. There are 2 sections to this chapter because streaming PC games is a lot different from streaming console games. Feel free to skip to whichever part pertains to you. Keep in mind that if you're planning to stream console games, you'll need a capture card first. If you plan on streaming PC games, this is how to show your gameplay. So first, open up the game that you want to stream. By the way, having 2 monitors is very helpful for streaming with OBS, but it's not impossible to do it with 1 monitor. I use 2 monitors, but for the sake of this video, I'll show you how to do it as though I only had 1. Once your game is open, hit the plus sign and click on Window Capture. Before you hit OK, just rename it really quick so that you remember what it is. Then hit OK and you'll be brought to a little menu. In the drop-down menu, find your game's window and then click on it. Make sure your game is the size that you want it to be when you're playing it. I'd suggest keeping your game borderless windowed because it makes it easier to go between OBS and the game. Go back to OBS and drag your window capture below your overlay, and then you can resize it to fit your gameplay box. And if you've done it right, then you should be able to see your game in OBS. Streaming console games is a little bit more challenging, but it's definitely doable. In fact, I stream console games a lot more than I stream PC games. For this part of the tutorial, I'm going to be using my Splatoon 2 game as an example. First things first, you're going to need an Elgato capture card. I use the Elgato HD, which is the most outdated one, but it works perfectly fine for me. Once you have one, just go to Elgato's website, download their game capture software, and make sure everything's working right before you bring it to OBS. Check your settings to see that you have the right console selected. Once everything seems good, then close the Elgato software and go back over to OBS. Disclaimer, if you're using a Mac, OBS won't recognize the Elgato software. I'm pretty sure there's a way around this, but I've never done it. Anyway, hit the plus sign and then select Game Capture. If you have your Elgato hooked up already, then you should be able to select it under Device. As for the rest of the settings, this is how I have mine set up. Resolution is 1280 by 720, match output FPS, any video format, default color space, full color range, auto-detect buffering, and capture audio only for audio output mode. Feel free to change these settings however you like. Then hit OK and drag the game capture source below your overlay. And then you can just resize it so that it fits your game capture box. Now let's set up your mic. If you don't have a mic for streaming, I recommend getting one as soon as you can afford it. I personally use the Blue Yeti and it works really well for me. However, you can use a headset mic or even a webcam mic if need be. I used to use my headset mic when I first started streaming, and even though the quality isn't the greatest, it's still better than nothing. Here's a little comparison between my headset mic and the mic that I use now.
So I have my headset plugged in, or connected to my PC right now, so I can't hear the game audio.
Let's go, Team Sucks! We're just splatting. I just want to get some splat festing done. So to identify your mic, click the plus sign on OBS to add a source. Click Audio Input Capture, rename it however you'd like, and then hit OK. Now you can see that it gives you a drop-down menu which lets you pick which mic you want to use. Once you've selected your mic, just click OK again, and you should be able to see your mic's levels going up and down under the Mixer tab. You can adjust the volume of all your audio there, which is really convenient. I usually keep my mic volume all the way up. You've probably noticed that when we added the PC game to your sources, there wasn't any audio. That's perfectly normal. All we have to do is add another source that's just for your game audio. Click the plus and then select Audio Output Capture. Rename it whatever you want and then hit OK. Under the device menu, pick whichever device you can hear your game out of. In my case, it's my speakers. Once you're done, hit OK and you should be able to see your audio under the Mixer tab. If you've already set up your game capture device, then you should be all set for audio. Under Mixer, you should be able to find an audio output for your game capture source. I'd suggest lowering that audio to about halfway because you don't want your game audio drowning out your mic. You can do a few test recordings to adjust the balance. If you're like me, you play a lot of multiplayer games. Streaming multiplayer games could be really fun, especially if your audience can hear what your friends are saying over Discord. So I'm going to go over how to incorporate Discord audio into your stream. First, you need to go to Discord, click on the gear by your name, and go to Voice and Video. Make sure that the input device and the output device are what you want, and make note of what your output device is. In my case, I have it set to headset earphone on my SteelSeries Arctis 7s. Go back to OBS and hit the plus sign to create a new audio output capture. I'm just going to name this one Discord Chat. Drop down the device menu and select the same audio output that you use for Discord. That way you'll know that that's where your Discord voice chat is coming from. Go ahead and hit OK, and then you should be able to see your source under your mixer. You can test it out by voice chatting with a friend, and you'll know if it works when the levels start to go up and down. I keep this one at full volume because I want my friends' voices to be the same volume as mine. If you're using an Elgato to stream, you probably noticed that your game, face cam, and audio aren't really synced up well. To fix this, you're going to have to delay your mic and your face cam to match the Elgato because the Elgato is the one that's delayed. Since I have the Elgato HD, I'm going to show you the numbers that work for me, but I believe it's different if you have a different version, so you're just going to have to guess and check a lot with this one. Actually, I do a test recording each time I stream just to make sure that everything is in sync because for some reason OBS messes up my settings sometimes. So let's adjust your mic delay first. To do that, just click on any of the gears under your mixer and then click on Advanced Audio Properties. It'll open up a window that shows you all of your audio input and output sources. Toward the middle, you should be able to see something called Sync Offset, and the MS in parentheses stands for milliseconds. Basically, what that means is you can adjust the delay of your audio by the millisecond. In my case, you can see that I have my mic in my Discord chat delayed by 850 milliseconds. This is what works for me, so you can definitely try it, but I won't guarantee that it'll be perfectly matched up for you, especially if you have a different version of the capture card. It definitely takes some guessing and checking, and a good way to do that is by entering a number for the delay, starting a test recording, and doing something in game that aligns with what you're saying. What I usually do is a countdown. Jumping in 3, 2, 1. Once you've got it aligned with your game, you should be all set. Just make sure to put the delay on both your mic and your Discord chat if you're using one, so that your friends will be in sync too. Now that you have your audio lined up, you just have to adjust your facecam's delay so that your voice matches your face. To do this, right-click on your facecam source and select Filters. Then hit the plus sign under Audio/Video Filters and select Video Delay Async. You should be able to see a box in the middle that allows you to enter a delay in milliseconds, just like your audio delay. Now, for some reason, my facecam has had a hard time aligning to everything else, and I'm not sure if that's a problem with OBS or not. I normally have my facecam delay set to around 750 milliseconds, which is about 100 milliseconds less than my mic delay. Again, it's a guess and check kind of thing. I would start off by entering the value that you entered for your mic delay, because that will get you somewhere in the ballpark. Then do a test recording to see if everything lines up. If your facecam is behind your mic, then you should make your millisecond value lower, and if it's faster than your mic, make it higher. It might take a few tries to get everything set up perfectly. Now it's time to bring Streamlabs into this. Streamlabs, previously known as Twitch Alerts, is a really easy way to make your streams better by using donations, goals, and alerts. You can definitely stream without using Streamlabs, but I'd strongly recommend that you do use it because it really improves the quality of your streams. So if you haven't logged into Streamlabs before, just go over to streamlabs.com and log in with your YouTube account. Then it'll bring you to your dashboard, which should be blank. It might seem a little overwhelming at first, but don't worry, I'll go through everything step by step. So your dashboard gives you an overview of how many donations, subscribers, etc. you've received that day. You can adjust the settings to see how many you've gotten over the course of the week, month, or year, and the bar graph will give you a visual of your achievements. The My Donations and My Sponsors tabs just show you how many donations or sponsors you've gotten over a certain period of time. The Shared Access tab is only for when you want someone else to be able to manage your Streamlabs account or when you manage someone else's Streamlabs account. As you can see, I manage Illuminali's account, so therefore I'm able to log into her Streamlabs and adjust her settings as I see fit. I've never used API settings, so I'm not going to go over that. I'll go over donation settings in the next chapter, but before you do anything, you'll want to set up your account settings. This is where you can merge all your accounts. I only have YouTube linked because it's the only platform that I use, but if you're interested in using multi-platform streaming, then feel free to link more accounts. Email preferences is pretty self-explanatory, and I'm not really familiar with the whole import function. I've never used any of these other services, so I've had no need to import anything. If you'd like, you can poke around the menus and see what everything else has to offer, but I'll be going over everything else in depth in the next chapter. So let's get started on one of the most important aspects of Streamlabs, donations. Everyone's watched a streamer get donations, and once you see that, you're like, hey, I want to do that too. Of course, donations can be few and far between for those who are less popular, but it doesn't hurt to set them up early. In fact, when I first set up my donations, I made my donation goal pizza, and I only made it $20 because I thought no one would donate. But hey, you might be surprised. So if you click on My Donations, you'll be able to see every donation you've ever gotten along with who's donated and what they said. You can also go ahead and see who your top donor is. Mine is LitDude, so thank you so much, LitDude. There's another tab for Super Chats too, which is when someone donates via the little money button in the YouTube stream chat. You can also see a list of donors that you've banned, but I haven't had to ban anyone yet, thankfully. The My Donations page doesn't really mean anything to you until you've set up your donation settings. To do that, click on Donation Settings and you'll see that there are plenty of ways to receive your donations. I recommend setting up your PayPal and your debit card. The setup for both is really pretty self-explanatory, but if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I have no idea what UnitPay or Skrill are, so I've never used them. Head over to the Settings tab to adjust any little things you'd like to change, such as your suggested amount, button color, profanity filter, etc. I didn't mess around too much with these, but it's definitely nice to have the option. Once you set up your payment methods and settings, go back to the Methods tab and you should see a link at the top. This link is very important because it's how your viewers will be able to donate to you during a stream. Copy and paste that link and put it in your stream description, preferably at the top. I'll go over how to set up everything on YouTube in a bit, but if you'd like to skip to that part, there are timestamps in the description. As soon as you have all your settings in place, it's time for the fun part, widgets. Basically, widgets encompass a lot of things like goals, alerts, etc. Alerts are the main reason that a lot of people use Streamlabs. They're the fun little GIFs or images that pop up whenever someone subscribes, donates, sponsors, or becomes a patron while you're streaming. It gives your audience another way to communicate with you. So in order to get started, click on Alert Box under the Widgets drop-down menu. That'll bring you to a page that lets you create your own custom alerts for certain actions. Let's start with donation alerts, for example, because I'm sure you'd want an alert for whenever someone donates. Click on the Donations tab to mess around with your donation settings. You can choose whatever suits you the best. As for the image and the sound of the alert, you can either use one of Streamlabs options or you can find your own. For my donation alert, I just used the Pikachu GIF from Streamlabs because I was too lazy to find anything else. But if you do want to pick a different GIF or image, just go hunting around online and you'll pretty much find anything. Streamlabs gives you the option to upload your own image when you click Change Media. You can also do the same thing with the sound of your alert. There are a bunch of different options to choose from on Streamlabs, but if you want to do your own, then go ahead. Just make sure that it's not an entire song, because I've done that before by accident and it was really annoying. I'm not really familiar with the donation gifts tab, so I've just left it how it is and I haven't really had a problem. Under donate or message settings, you can fine tune the looks of your alert by adjusting the font, color, and size of your text. The same goes for font settings pretty much. And lastly, we have alert variations, which is where you can create different alerts for certain donation amounts. As you can see, I have different alerts for $169, $666, $420, and $100. It's a little immature, yeah, but it makes things more fun. Setting up an alert variation is basically the same as customizing any other alert, so you shouldn't have any trouble there. The settings are basically the same for subscriber, sponsor, super chat, and pledge alerts. Once you're done setting everything up, copy the URL at the top of the page and then paste it into a browser source in OBS. You can test to see if you've done it right by hitting the test buttons on Streamlabs. Now that you have your donation set up, you probably want to set a donation goal so your viewers can see why they're donating to you. It's also just cool to see visually how far you are away from a certain goal. For a first-time streamer, I'd suggest making the goal pretty modest. Like I said, my first donation goal was $20. But now, after going through several other donation goals, my current one is for $2,000. So just keep gradually moving on up. If you followed my stream overlay tutorial, then you'll know that I left a space in the overlay for a donation goal. You can put it anywhere in your stream, really. Just make sure it's visible and not in the way. So to start up your donation goal, drop down the Widgets menu on Streamlabs and select Goals. Here you can choose between a donation goal and a subscriber goal. I'm going to be talking about the donation goal, but the subscriber goal is very similar if you'd like to use it. Personally, I don't use the Streamlabs subscriber goal, but you might find it easier than what I do. So once you click on donation goal, you'll be able to see the status of your current goal, if any. You'll also notice that there's a widget URL that's locked, but we'll get to that in a moment. So to make your own, fill in the information you need, such as the title, goal amount, etc. Once you've done that, click on Start Donation Goal. If you'd like, you can click on the Settings tab and mess around with how you'd like your goal to look. I personally like the condensed look better than the standard look, but you can choose whatever you want. After you've made everything look all nice and pretty, make sure you have My Goal selected and then click on your widget URL. It's very important that you don't share this with anyone, because if they had that URL, they'll be able to use it in their streams if they want. I don't know why anyone would want to do this, but you should take precautions either way. So select the URL and copy it to your clipboard and then go back over to OBS. Hit the plus sign and select Browser Source. Then paste your URL into the URL box and hit OK. If you want, you can mess around with the other settings, but I usually don't think it's necessary. And there you go. Your donation goal should appear on your screen. Make sure you've dragged that layer above all your other layers to make sure that it's visible. And then you can go ahead and resize it or move it as you see fit. Once it's in the place that you want it, you won't have to mess with it again until you start a new donation goal. Another available widget for you is the Stream Boss. I've personally never used it, but from what I've seen or read, the Stream Boss's HP has something to do with the amount of subscribers and donations that you get. I don't fully understand it, but if you'd like to try it out, just copy the URL given to you and paste it into a browser source in OBS. The event list, however, is something that I do use in all my streams. It's a cool way to give your viewers some recognition. Basically, all it does is show a list of recent subscribers, sponsors, donations, etc. When you click on the event list tab, you can see all the different settings that you can mess around with. There are a bunch of different themes, and my personal favorite is the Slick theme. You can adjust how many events will be shown at a time and fine-tune it to your liking so that it fits your stream overlay. And then when you're done, simply copy the widget URL, paste it into a new browser source in OBS, and then you're good to go. The jar is a new widget that I've never used before just because it wasn't available when I was first setting up my streams. Pretty much it's just a jar that's empty at the beginning of your stream and then fills up as you get donations, subscribers, sponsors, etc. Each one is weighted differently, I believe. You can choose what kind of jar you want and what events you want to fill it up. And then when you're done, you can put it into your stream the same way that you put in all your other widgets. I'm not sure if I'll use this one, but I can see how it's a cool idea. So if you end up using it in your stream, then let me know how it works out for you. Next, we have stream labels. Have you ever seen a streamer who has a scrolling text bar of most recent donations, top donors, etc.? Well, it's all done using stream labels. It can be a little complicated to get into, but I'll go through it step by step. So once you click on the Stream Labels tab, download the application for whichever software you're using. Since I'm using Windows, I'm going to be showing you the Windows version of it, but it's pretty similar on Mac. I've done both. Once it's finished downloading, go ahead and open it up. First things first, you'll see a bunch of recent events if you've already streamed using Streamlabs before. Before we do anything else, I recommend hitting the gear in the corner to fine-tune some of your donation messages. You can adjust what you'd like the message to be for each event, and you can cycle through events by dropping down the menu on the top left. As you can see, there are a bunch of options, and you definitely don't need to put them all in your stream, otherwise it would look way too cluttered. I don't use any stream labels in my streams unless I'm just doing a face cam stream, which I did when I hit 1,000 subscribers. The only one I used was was the most recent donors one. The donation ticker is pretty similar to what I was talking about with the stream labels, only this one is just for recent donations. So if you just want to scroll with the names of those who recently donated to you, then there's no need to go through the trouble of downloading stream labels. All you have to do is head over to donation ticker, customize your settings, and then paste the link into a browser source in OBS. If you want anything more complex though, I'd head over to stream labels. So somewhat recently, Streamlabs decided to add a chat box widget. This is super helpful for a lot of people because it's an easy way to get your chat to show up in your stream. Unfortunately, when I was first setting up my stream, this wasn't an option, so I had to go through something way more complicated to get my YouTube chat in my stream. But it was worth it because now I prefer the look of the complicated chat to the look of the Streamlabs chat. If you want to know how I get my chat to look like this, head over to chapter 11, which is where I'll explain it. But for now, I'll just talk about Streamlabs chatbox widget. So there are a bunch of different themes that you can choose from, so just pick whichever you like the best. The rest of the settings are pretty self-explanatory. And then, you guessed it, copy the link at the top and paste into a browser source. You can probably sense a theme here. And just like that, your stream chat will be forever documented within your stream. The next thing on the alert list is the viewer counter. Basically, this is a widget that shows how many people are watching your stream. That way, when watching it back later, you can still see what your viewer counts were at a given time. However, when I used this widget, it seemed pretty broken and the number of viewers would only change if I went into OBS and reset the widget. That was a pain, so I ended up taking the viewer counter out because I didn't really think it was a big deal. I don't know if Streamlabs has fixed it since then, but if you want to try it out, copy the link at the top and paste it into a browser source. I'd recommend putting it in the corner of your stream to make sure that it's not distracting. The spin wheel is something that I genuinely have no idea about because it's so new. As you can see, it's still in development, which might indicate that it's still glitchy. My guess is that it's some way for your viewers to win prizes or something. I don't see myself using this anytime soon, but if you want to try it out, then be my guest. The Streamlabs wishlist is a cool way to give your viewers a chance to get you something from Amazon that you actually want. As you can see, I haven't updated my wishlist in a while, and no one has ever actually bought anything from my wishlist, probably because I listed such expensive items. I don't really know what I was thinking. I guess I just was experimenting with it. So to add an item, click the green button on the top right corner and then fill in all the boxes accordingly. It's a little time consuming, but I watched streams where people have gotten donations in the form of a wishlist item, and it was really cool. Last but not least, we have the credits, which is another new widget. Basically what this does is roll credits at the end of your stream, showing those who subscribed or donated during it. I haven't gotten the chance to use it yet, but I think I might try it out at some point because I like recognizing those who are nice enough to subscribe and donate to me. As you can see, there's a bunch of settings that you can mess with, and once you're done, you can just put it in a browser source. Now that we've gone over widgets, it's time to go over something that I see a lot of streamers using, myself included, a subscriber count. Personally, a lot of my subscribers come from my streams, so that's why I always have a sub goal set up in my overlay. Unfortunately, I've changed my overlay a little bit since I made that GTA overlay video, so I'm going to be showing you how I do this in a different one of my stream overlays. So first, head over to livecounts.net. Type in your channel name or ID, hit OK, and then your live sub count will pop up. Then copy the URL and head back over to OBS. Paste the link into a new browser source and then hit OK. You'll notice that you can see the subscriber count, but it's not transparent. So to do that, right click on the browser source you just made and select Filters. Press the plus button and click on Crop. So for this part, just do a little bit of number guessing until you can only see the number of subscribers that you have. Now to get rid of the background, press the plus sign again and then select Chroma Key. Where it says Key Color Type, drop down the menu and select Custom. Hit Select Color, then pick Screen Color. Click on the background and then hit OK. Then you can mess around with the other options down there until you can see the number clearly. You can close out of that and then you have your live sub count. If you'd like to have a sub goal that looks like mine, it's pretty easy to create one in Photoshop. As you can see, I just have a little white box behind the goal number so that the numbers aren't drowned out, and I've just placed a stroke around it to make it fit in with everything else in the overlay. Just so you know, the font of the number on livecounts.net is Arial, so if you want a sub goal that looks the same as your live sub count, choose Arial as the font and then type in whatever your goal is. Then in OBS, resize and position your sub count so that it fits into the box. If you guys have any more questions about that, leave a comment below. So earlier I mentioned that I use my own custom YouTube live chat for my streams. I figured this out a while ago back when Streamlabs didn't have a widget for the live chat. But even now, I still use my own live chat, so if you want to know how to get yours to look like mine, then I'll show you. So first head over to your live streaming dashboard on YouTube, which is www.youtube.com/live_dashboard. Click on the three dots next to your live chat and then select Pop Out Chat. This will make your live chat open up in a separate window. You'll notice that there's also a URL at the top of that window, so select that and copy it. Go back to OBS and create a new browser source and then paste the URL there. If you just hit OK then, you'll see that the chat appears normally in OBS, which is what some people like. I, however, like a more transparent look. So double click on your chat source and you'll see a section called CSS. Basically, that's where all the magic happens. I have my custom CSS in the description below, so head over there and copy that. Then paste it into your browser source. As for height and width, you can adjust it to your liking, but 504 by 210 works for my overlay. Once you have everything done, hit OK. It'll blink for a second and then it'll just be a transparent box. To test it out, go over to your YouTube live chat and send a few test chats. If it works, you should be able to see it on your stream. It's kind of a complicated way of doing things, but I prefer it. If you have a Discord server and you'd like to promote it on stream, there's a cool way to integrate that with OBS. All you have to do is go to streamkit.discordapp.com/overlay, the link will be in the description, and hit install for OBS. There are a few different widgets that you can put in your stream. I only use the status widget and occasionally the voice widget, but I'll go over each one briefly. So the status widget is just a little thing that shows the name of your server, the link, and how many people you have online. I have this on my stream at all times in case anyone wants to join my server, and I also have the link to it in my description. You can mess around with the settings and have a look under the status widget tab. Once you have all your settings figured out, highlight and copy the link on the right side of the screen. The website gives you pretty easy instructions. Basically, all you have to do is create a new browser source in OBS, paste the link, and then enter in the height and width that they give you on the website. The chat widget is something that displays one of the text channels in your server. I used this in my first Minecraft stream because I wanted to see how it worked. It worked perfectly fine, but I didn't use it again because I didn't really see the point in using it. But if you'd like to put it in your stream, by all means go ahead. The way that you put it into OBS is exactly the same as the status widget, only with a different height and width. Lastly, we have the voice widget, which shows who can voice chat and when they talk. This is useful when it comes to multiplayer streams, and I still use it pretty often. I recommend having a voice channel just for your stream and having it locked so that only you can join or move other people in as you see fit. That way, random people in your server won't just join out of nowhere and clog up your stream. So once you've selected which voice channel you want to use and you've figured out all your settings, make a new browser source and copy and paste everything into there, just like the last two widgets. Now, whenever anyone is in that voice chat, your audience will know who's talking. It's pretty cool. I'm just going to go over my YouTube settings and how I set up my streams. YouTube is kind of weird in that it doesn't actually have a button for live streams right on the homepage. You have to actually click on the upload button and then click get started under live streaming on the right side. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, but I haven't bothered finding one yet. Anyway, once you're there, you'll find similar setup to the one that you see when you upload a video. Some things are just rearranged, that's all. So first, come up with the title. I usually try to keep the name of the game somewhere in my title so that people know what I'm playing. Then if you have a thumbnail specifically for the stream, hit change thumbnail and then just find the file on your computer. Having a thumbnail isn't required, but I recommend it because it makes your stream look more professional and visually attractive. Another thing that you should make note of is the box where you state which game that you're playing. I tend to forget this one a lot, which results in a lot of people pointing out that I have the wrong game listed. So just start typing whichever game you're playing for that stream and then it'll most likely come up. These settings will stay as they are until you want to do another stream, so that's what makes it different from uploads. For streams and videos, my descriptions tend to be pretty long. They have all my information, my social media, friend codes, frequently asked questions, and all my hardware and software. My video descriptions differ a little from my stream descriptions though. First things first, I have the donation link on top so that it's easy to see if anyone wants to donate. If you plan on setting up donations, I suggest you do the same to make it easier for your viewer. Then I have all my social media, chat rules, and frequently asked questions. I try to keep it short and sweet because I know that not everybody reads the descriptions or follow the rules. But if you do have any rules, that's where you should put them. Speaking of rules, let's talk about mods and bots. You should consider having a few moderators to keep the chat under control and help you avoid spoilers. The more the better in this situation because not every one of your mods will be able to monitor your streams every single time. Mods can time people out and ban them. I usually give people 2 chances. If they break the rules once, they get timed out for 300 seconds. If they do it again, they get banned. Another stream supplement you can look into is a bot. There are plenty of bots you can potentially use for your streams, but I really only use Nightbot, so I'll be talking about that one. Head over to nightbot.tv to get started. The link is in the description. Log in with YouTube and then connect to your channel by clicking join channel so that Nightbot becomes a moderator for your streams. There's a bunch of cool stuff that Nightbot can do. You can create your own custom commands so that if, for example, someone asks what your Switch friend code is, you can just type !switch into the chat and then Nightbot will respond for you as long as you've made the custom command. Making the commands are pretty easy. All you have to do is hit add command, type in the name of your command, type what you'd like your command to say, decide who can say the command, and then hit submit. I have a bunch of custom commands for my YouTube friends so that whenever they come onto my streams, I can recommend their channel to my audience just by typing in their specific command and having Nightbot give them the link to their channel. There are also a bunch of default commands that you can use, but I don't really use them that often. Nightbot also keeps logs of your chat, makes note of who's a regular on your streams, and employs spam protection, keeping trolls at bay. I personally have all the spam protection filters turned off just because I know that my friends spam emotes and caps a lot. You can adjust it to your liking. Another cool thing that Nightbot does is timers. You can have Nightbot automatically say a command over a certain interval of time, basically. I only have 2 timers set up right now because I don't want Nightbot to spam my chat. The first one is my social links timer, which connects to my custom command !social. You might have to create the custom command first before you put it on a timer. Then go over to timers, make a new one, and put the name of your custom command in the message box and then in the alias box so that Nightbot knows to call upon that command. Then you can choose how often you want Nightbot to say the command. In this case, I have it set for every 60 minutes. You can also adjust the number of chat lines that you'd like to have before Nightbot says the command again. This is just to prevent Nightbot from repeating itself over and over, so if you know that your chat goes a little slow, I'd increase the number of chat lines. The second timer that I have is my Discord timer, which has Nightbot say the command for my Discord server link every half hour. It's a good way to periodically promote yourself. Under the stream options tab, everything is pretty self-explanatory. I keep my streams unlisted because I always re-upload them to my second channel, Sicsen Games. As for stream optimizations, the default was normal latency, so I've just kept it as is, and I've had no problems. There's really no settings that you have to change unless you want to. So once you're positive that you've gotten everything together for your stream, it's time to find your stream key. Head over to your YouTube live dashboard and scroll down to where it says encoder setup. Select your stream key and copy it. Be careful though, if you reveal this to anyone, they can stream on your channel too. So once you've copied that, go back to OBS. Go into your settings and click on the stream tab. There you should be able to see a place to enter your stream key. Once you place that in, make sure that you apply the changes and then hit OK. Now you're all set to stream. The next part is pretty easy. Just click start streaming and YouTube will receive your stream within a few seconds. I always record my streams too, but that's just personal preference. And that, boys and girls, is that. This video was super long, but I really hope that it was helpful to at least one of you. If something I said was incorrect or if I was unclear about something, then please feel free to leave a question or a comment down below and I will get to it as soon as I can. If you enjoyed this tutorial, then please consider leaving a thumbs up, and if you're feeling daring, maybe even subscribe. And if you guys have any other tutorial suggestions for me, just let me know. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.